that it is because Peter Obi did not rebuke the statement made by his running mate, Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, who during a live television interview said that if Nigeria's president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu were to be sworn in on May 29th, it will be the end of democracy in the country. Lai Mohammed went further to state that Peter Obi's failure to correct his running mate means that Datti Baba Ahmed re-echoed his thoughts.
For anybody to say that if a duly elected president in Nigeria is sworn in, that will be the end of democracy. It's treason. For anybody to say if you swear in a duly elected president, you are swearing the military. It's treason.
Dr. Bati, I'm coming over to you on both stories really quickly.
Okay, a number of issues. Number one, the context is that the Minister of Information, National Orientation and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, had been in the United States where he interfaced with the international media. And then now back home, after the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday, he was subjected to some kind of debriefing by the State House media. And he responded to a number of questions. One, he provided a justification for his trip to the United States. He said he needed to balance the narrative. In that regard, he was doing his job as Minister of Information of the Federal Republic to present the other side to the international community. And he told the international community that the recently concluded elections, in his view, were the fairest, the most peaceful, and the most peaceful, in his consideration in recent Nigerian history. Well, he's a spokesperson for government of the Buhari administration. So what do you expect him to say? So in that regard, he was doing his job. Second, he said President Muhammadu Buhari did not interfere and he did not favor his own political party. And that after all, the president lost presidential election in his own state of Katsina. And that kind of development is most unusual in Nigerian politics. Okay, he can say that. There are persons who may well disagree with him. In terms of the process, he told his audience that beavers worked very well, that the introduction of technology was something that worked excellently during the election, where there will be people who will say they disagree, because beavers may have worked in some selected places, in some selected elections, but it did not work generally. And the main issue is controversy over the introduction of technology, how it was operationalized, how results were collated and transmitted, and how the INEC results viewing portal worked. Then fourth, he then jumped to the Adamawa election and said that in the Adamawa election, the president of Nigeria, has no responsibility to deal with the resident electoral commissioner. Well, in that regard, I think there's also likely to be a controversy. The resident electoral commissioners for INEC, they are appointees of the president.
Absolutely.
With two-thirds concurrence of the Senate. The Minister of Information and Culture happens to be a lawyer. So maybe in case he has forgotten aspects of his own education, he should take a look at what the law says, Section 285 sub 1, and also Section 6 sub 3, what it says about what can be done to a rogue resident electoral commissioner. So you cannot say it's the responsibility of INEC. INEC has played its part by reporting to the president and also reporting to the IGP. So you can argue with him in that particular regard. The more controversial part of his submission would seem to be a statement that Datti Ahmed, because Peter Obi did not caution him, so Peter Obi is guilty of treasonable felony, and that was why he made the point. Well, Datti Ahmed is not a baby. He was born in 1969. He's 53 years old. Okay, so he's an individual entity or in his own regard. The joint ticket between him and Peter Obi does not make him a boy to Peter Obi. If that is how they operate in Lai Mohammed's party, well, that's not how other political parties, function. So Dati Ahmed has rights as an individual within the constitution to express his own opinion.
Yes.
So I think it will be also an issue to say because Dati Ahmed says something, then Peter Obi is guilty.
Well,
our constitution, again, I keep quoting it because Lai Mohammed is a lawyer. Section 36 gives the right to fair hearing. There's nowhere in the constitution of Nigeria where a man can be punished for the infraction of another.
well, thank you for clarifying that, because that's one of the issues.
Dati Ahmed, if he has said anything that Lai Mohammed objects to, the man that should be held responsible is Dati Ahmed.
Absolutely.
And he's still alive. He's in a position to defend himself. And that point is important because Peter Obi himself has gone further to say that he does not support violence, he does not support anything that is against the law, and that his commitment as a man who has been favored by the Nigerian judiciary on more than 2 occasions in the past is to go through due process, go through the courts, and that is what he has been doing. But to say Dati Ahmed said something, Peter Obi is guilty, no, that's not what the law says.
Absolutely. Well, he is saying that Peter Obi should have rebuked Dati's comment, and that the fact that he did not rebuke Dati's comment, it appears that Dati was re-echoing his thoughts. I don't know how that's possible, but the Labour Party presidential candidate, in responding to several allegations levied against him, the latest being his alleged detention in the United Kingdom, stated in a series of tweets that he has lived in a most law-abiding manner all his life. On April 12th, the Labour Party announced that Obi was harassed and detained by London immigration officials over alleged impersonation. The party said Obi was questioned for a long time and that it took the intervention of Nigerians for him to be released. Peter Obi, in his tweet, also stated that although humans make mistakes, he has never knowingly contravened the law, further stating that he is not afraid of the lies and propaganda against his person, and that he has always known that the journey to a new Nigeria will be tough. On Monday, while speaking with journalists, Obi stated that he is a committed Nigerian who does not have a dual nationality and who would always put Nigeria first.
Whatever happens, we must stay the course because we want to build a new Nigeria. We want a Nigeria where Nigerians will be proud to say they are Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian, committed Nigeria. I don't have any dual nationality. So this is my own country. And I've said it that even if there's war outside this country, if I'm outside, I'll come back because it's my country.
Peter Obi has responded in a swift manner. He had a series of tweets, but also, he got responses. And I'll just take one before I come to you. And this is from the spokesperson of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council, Femi Fani-Kayode, who in a series of tweets insisted that the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, must disclose the details of his alleged detention by the British immigration officers at Heathrow Airport in the United Kingdom. Well, his tweet read in part, Peter Obi's claim that he never knowingly broke the law speaks volumes and suggests that he broke it unknowingly. Sadly for him, not knowing that you broke the law when you actually broke it is no defense. And in any case, there are some crimes that are known as strict liability offenses, which do not even need any premeditation. He went further to ask if it is drug dealing, drug smuggling, human parts trading, human trafficking, fraud, misappropriation of funds, money laundering, 419, murder, conspiracy, treason, or all of the above. I mean, I'm sorry. Femi Femi Fani-Kayode just finds a way to crack me up because, you know, the issue is, I mean, he did get a lot of responses, obviously, from the obedience because you know that there are so many allegations about the presidential candidate of the All Progressive who is Nigeria's president-elect, where he is, and I mean, he's responding to another party's candidate, but he has not responded to all the allegations that have been levied against Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Very quickly, the first thing I'll say is, well, I'm glad that FFK has finally found his legal certificate good use in terms of trying to investigate and search out and perhaps propose a crime that Mr. Peter Obi would have committed to be detained in the United Kingdom. Having lived in the UK himself and being a lawyer, I would assume that FFK would know the kind of crimes that would have you detained and be released. Obviously not trafficking, not carrying of drugs, not murder. So he was being mischievous with that statement.
Yes.
However, I do also think that he's not very sure who the president-elect is, because they keep treating Mr. Peter Obi as if he were the president-elect.
Exactly.
Holding him to account, asking him questions, telling him to address the people as if he were the president-elect. Where is the person who, as we have said on this show earlier on, is accountable to the Nigerian people because he's now a state actor? Mr. Peter Obi is as Nigerian a citizen as any one of us. The good thing about him is that he seems to hold himself accountable to the people by speaking regularly to the people, usually not through a proxy or through a release statement. And so when we ask questions like this, it's actually, for me, kudos to the man that he is, that people feel that he's been so transparent that they can ask him anything and is able to respond.
Yes.
I believe that the questions that FFK should pose should be to the president-elect on questions around allegations that have been made about his drug trafficking history, allegations that have been made concerning the recent passport, his Guinean passport, and to remember that he is the one that's accountable to the Nigerian people.
Absolutely. Well, okay, I'll come to you. I mean, I'd love for you to also, touch on Peter Obi's comment where he said that, he's a committed Nigerian and he does not have dual citizenship. I don't know. A lot of people on social media have been saying that it's, like a subtle jab at the current situation going on with Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his alleged Guinean passport.
Well, yes. I mean, I wouldn't blame him if he finds a subtle way of saying some of these things, but there's no need for subtlety in some cases. If you're looking for subtlety, it's the likes of Femi Fani-Kayode that you have to mention things like that too. Sometimes they don't even know how to spell the word because you get surprised. I've gotten to a point where my thick skin is struggling to stay on my body because some of the things that the likes of Femi Fani-Kayode have said, I just begin to wonder, how did we get here? But when you look at the trajectory, when you look at the history of some of the things that the likes of Femi Fani-Kayode has said, you will not be surprised, because if a man speaks from both sides of the mouth, 2011 you hear what they said, 2013 you heard, and you go down, all you need to do is Google the name and look at all the videos, and you see someone who abuses Asiwaju Bola Tinubu and abuses Buhari and goes back to say Buhari is the best and goes back to say Asiwaju Tinubu is the best, and all these kind of things. I think Nigerians just have to wake up to the fact that there are certain people that we should never, ever take seriously or listen to. That is the bottom line.
Absolutely. Dr. Abati, your comment on Peter Obi's statement.
Well, okay, the point that, Femi Fani-Kayode is making, there is a nuance to it. He's saying that one part of Mr. Peter Obi's statement says, human beings have weaknesses, but I will not knowingly break the law. And he made a point that in law, whether you knowingly or unknowingly broke the law, you are not allowed to break the law.
Right.
So what exactly is it that happened? His main submission is that, okay, tell us what happened about the detention on Friday, April 12th. In London at the Heathrow Airport. So that question, I don't think is too much for him to ask. And also, it took Mr. Peter Obi a whole week to address the allegation frontally. However, the spokesperson of the Labour Party had issued a statement saying that, look, this is a case of impersonation. This is also a case of Nigerian politicians trying to sabotage Mr. Peter Obi. But I think the more important part of it is that Mr. Peter Obi, in the process, appealed to his supporters.
Yes.
That, look, there will be all kinds of things. There will be propaganda.
Yes.
There will be issues.
I like that
and
you
he said,
propaganda, Dr. Abati, because I want you to pull up that picture, the director, if you have it, which is the picture of Abike Dabiri and Peter Obi superimposed, that fake picture, that fake news that circulated on social media, Dr. Abati, about propaganda. Pick up on that.
Yeah, so he made a point that, look, people are fighting back, and it's political, and that he's appealing to his supporters, you know, just to remain calm and realize that the best way to challenge anything is through the court. Absolutely. And I think that that statesmanly statement, you know, is very important. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ujineka.